Hello and welcomes everyone, and Wolf here bringing you a new Let's Play. As you can no doubt tell from the title of the video, or the background image I'm using, once again we are returning to Star Wars The Old Republic, a game I have brought many times to the channel, and for those of you who have been around for a good few years, you may even recognise parts of the background image I'm currently using for this introduction video, this introduction part to the series. This of course was the background image in part that I was using for my very first full playthrough as another bounty hunter known as Vyi'zur. We are finally coming full circle, and finally, with the latest expansion finally being released today, we are revisiting the Bounty Hunter story arc with our new character here. And I'm certainly looking forward to it. I've had a few months away, a few personal issues, which I won't go into, but that time away has given me time to pursue some other games, and waiting to see what Legacy of the Sith, the latest expansion, actually brings to the game. What changes it is going to introduce, as from the brief glances I've seen from various other content creators who follow Star Wars The Old Republic a bit more closely than I do behind the scenes, there are quite a few changes to the UI, to the game mechanics, to combat, to even character creation, which is what we're looking to do here in this introduction part to the series. So, for those of you who are familiar with this introduction video, if you've seen other Star Wars The Old Republic playlists on my channel, you are more than welcome to skip ahead. This is going to be very much more of the same that you may have heard before, but you are more than welcome to stick around. And for anyone who is new, obviously feel free to stick around if you'd like to learn more about the timeline we find ourselves in, a bit more about the game and what you can expect as we actually go further into this particular series. So, first things first, for those of you who may not be aware of what Star Wars The Old Republic is, it is an MMO that got released at the back end of 2011, and it is a game I've been playing. I was somewhat a beta, a founder behind the scenes, but I've only been playing the game on and off for over 10 years now. Oh, I'm laughing because I've still yet to do a single operation. Operations, for those of you who may not be aware, are the equivalent of raids in other MMOs such as World of Warcraft, or more noticeably in the previous year, Final Fantasy XIV. This is of course a game set in the Star Wars universe, and more importantly, for those of you who are more familiar with the movies, the canon timeline as they call it, this series, this title, which was developed by BioWare, is set approximately 3,600 years prior to the movies, where a lot of interesting things are occurring, at least thanks to the writers. For those of you who have maybe played some of the previous BioWare Star Wars titles, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, this actually continues on from those, but is set 300 years after those events. And in brief, we'll go into kind of what's happening here and now in the galaxy. Of course, we know of the major galactic republic, which was founded 20,000 years ago, from where we start as a character. But we have the galaxy, we have the republic, and of course we have a variety of neutral worlds, which all were living in peace and harmony, somewhat. And then finally we have the Sith Empire, which has finally made a major return to the galaxy at large, highly militaristic and highly aggressive, and the Sith Empire started basically declaring war on the Republic and claiming worlds for their own. Now, we'll learn more about the two major factions once we get into character creation itself, but suffice to say, the Great War went on for about 28 years, and the Empire were making great strides, including sacking the Republic's capital world of Coruscant itself at one point. A peace treaty was signed, and since then there has been a somewhat of a Cold War. 10 years have passed since the Treaty of Coruscant was signed, and the worlds that, or most of the worlds that the Empire managed to claim were ceded over to them. As I say, 10 years have passed where we actually find our character and the events that will transpire. A somewhat Cold War has actually been ongoing between the Republic and the Empire. They've been sending diplomats, agents, trying to coerce various factions, various planets and corporations to one side or the other. As both know, this uneasy truce cannot remain as it is. And so, inevitably, the war will return, and both sides are gearing up for that actually to occur. And that is where we find our bounty hunter. Similar to the smuggler, even though the smuggler is working loosely alongside the Republic, the bounty hunter finds that most of their lucrative contacts, their bounties, are being signed by the Empire, or affiliates who are aligned with the Empire at least. There's also rumours that there is a great tournament being held, and the winner of said tournament will gain great fame and prestige. Of course then, giving the potential of even more lucrative contracts, more lucrative targets to earn more credits. And that is where we find ourselves, landing on the prologue world of Nal Hutta to maybe find a way into this great tournament. We will talk more about our character, their background, and what you may expect our character's actions to be as we get into character creation. But a few things before we actually start. Once again, for those of you who are aware, this is going to be what I call a long Let's Play here in Star Wars The Old Republic. We're going to be focusing not only on the various class-specific missions and the story arc the bounty hunter finds itself through, but of course aiding, I suppose, somewhat Imperial factions who may offer some more credits for our rendered assistance, shall we say. In addition, we'll be looking to do various flashpoints, maybe even some operations, which are the dungeons and raids in this game itself. And in addition, we'll be exploring the new combat system and seeing how our character develops in their various abilities and what weapons and armor we can equip. Once again, we'll be making use of a set of adaptive armor. There is various armor sets that can level up with your character, where you can change the various item modifications that it actually holds, and as you improve the modifications, the improved mods actually will give you greater attributes, all in all making the armor you're wearing overall better. But yes, I think that's really all I need to say at this point and time. No doubt there'll be a few things I've missed, but we'll get ourselves over to character creation and explore what has changed there, and we'll talk more about our character before we actually get into the opening scroll and get ourselves onto Hutta itself. But I will see you in just a moment. And welcomes back, everyone. So, There's a few teething problems, I have to say, with the beginning of the legacy of the Sith expansion. The server update took a little bit longer than expected, and the logging in, the loading process, is taking me a little bit of time. But we finally got into our character selection screen, and I had a quick look at a few of my characters to see what has changed, but I've left most of the discoveries, the changes that Legacy of the Sith has brought to us, to be discovered with our new character. Obviously, they've changed the logos, the pictures here, to indicate the various story arcs, the various origins, as they now call them, as we've now reached the end of all 8 of the main origin stories. And Valakar. Yes, I do miss Valakar. But with a new expansion, we bring a new character and start from the beginning and see what has changed. So, for any of you who may be interested, we are playing on the Darth Malgus server. And yes, let us begin. Let's have a quick look at my settings. Yeah, they seem fine. Everything's on maximum, it seems. Okay. Sounds good to me. I imagine the servers are very busy this evening, being the first actual evening of the release. I'm probably just going to do this one introduction video this evening and get it edited and ready for YouTube. And tomorrow we'll actually get into the gameplay, into some actual exploration of our prologue world. So, here we used to have level boosts to get us into Knights of the Fallen Empire, or Knights of the Eternal Throne. And now they allow us to go straight into Onslaught and then Legacy of the Sith. The previous level cap was level 75, now they've brought it up to level 80, and they've rejigged the various user or character abilities, I should say, to balance that new cap. But we're going to be starting at level 1. Join the fight for the galaxy as you side with the Galactic Republic or the Sith Empire to embark on one of 8 exciting origin stories. So I've rewrote this text, interesting. Understandable. And yeah, we have the whole new character, our character screen here. Choose our allegiance. Back in the day, you would actually get a bit of text giving you a bit of an idea between what both factions were all about. As we mentioned, the Galactic Republic was founded 20,000 years ago by various planets, various species, corporations, and as I've mentioned at the beginning of previous other Let's Plays, the Galactic Republic, when it isn't some galactic crisis, has a lot of red tape. A lot of things don't seem to happen very quickly. It tries to maintain the so-called peace, the status quo. But really, it's those who have influence, power, wealth, who are able to sway various senators or corporations to their side. And so there's a lot of people that, as a player of the Republic, you may encounter who don't see the Republic themselves in a great light. Of course, there are those who believe in the ideals of the Republic, which is fine and good, but really there are those who suffer due to the ideal conditions, even on the capital world of Coruscant itself. The Galactic Republic is a vast democracy, of course, led by a Supreme Chancellor. On the other side, of course, we have the Sith Empire, highly militaristic, and they are ruled by the all-powerful Sith Emperor. The Emperor, since even before the signing of the Treaty of Coruscant, has been somewhat distracted. Seemingly he has a star fortress somewhere orbiting the world of Droman Cass, and that is where he conducts his own business. But the day-to-day business, you should say, is handled by a group known as the Dark Council. I keep forgetting offhand how many members there are. I believe it's 14, but I believe there are 14 members of the Dark Council, all very powerful lords of the Sith, and each have their own sphere of influence. Just to throw a name out there, the likes of Darth Jadis, who deals with Sith intelligence. This is more to do with not only the intelligence that the Sith themselves gather, but it also merges with Imperial intelligence, who are made up of non-Force users for the most part. And various spheres of influence will overlap when their interests align, but there's a lot of political backstabbing, a lot of fighting for place for their hierarchy within the Sith, which leaves a lot of the citizenry rather nervous, as those who aren't Force users may find themselves in unfortunate situations, shall we say, especially non-humans. Non-humans are looked down upon within the Sith Empire. And yes, unless you have some backing by someone of note, or you manage to find a high position within the Imperial Army or Imperial Intelligence, you may not have an easy life within the Empire, especially if you get noticed. But those with ambition and who can achieve the goals they are given or set out for themselves may advance far within the Empire. It's not quite a meritocracy. There is a lot of corruption there as well, but it's difficult to say. There are certainly pros and cons to both major factions. But as a bounty hunter, we are, of course, loosely aligned with the Sith Empire. Okay. And this is where we get to choose our origin story. So, we have the 4 here. Of course, we want to play as a bounty hunter. We can choose male or female.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Of course, each origin and each gender, I suppose, is has their own unique voice actor or voice actress.
I'm always a professional.
I'm always a professional.
Despite me playing as a male bounty hunter last time, I've actually decided we're going to play as a male bounty hunter this time as well. Mainly because I may in the future follow up with a Republic trooper, and we may actually play as a female trooper in that series. So, here we are a bounty hunter, an expert mercenary for the Sith Empire. The Empire has many enemies, and they'll pay skilled bounty hunters handsomely to remove them with ruthless efficiency. The best in shielding and defensive tactics. Oh, this is the power tech. The second. Right. So we have 8 tech styles to choose from. Same with the Imperial Agent, I believe. Indeed, even though they've rejiggled the icons in different positions. Whereas if we played as a Sith Warrior or a Sith Inquisitor, we could of course play as an Inquisitor, but have a former Sith Warrior's combat style. Huh, curious. Or even a Jedi Guardian's combat style. Huh. So formerly as a bounty hunter, you had two advanced classes, the Power Tech and Mercenary, both wielding blaster pistols. Though the Power Tech only wielded one along with a shield generator. For this particular playthrough, I think I'm able to choose from two combat styles, one at level 1 and one later as we progress through the storyline or when we reach a certain level. For this point in time, I've decided we're actually going to play as a Commando, which means we wield the giant assault cannon. Trained in advanced assault tactics and weaponry, Commandos charge into battle with massive assault cannons, overwhelming their enemies with brute firepower. We have three specializations. We could be a combat medic, which has some healing abilities. We can be the gunnery commando, which deals direct damage at range, or the assault specialist, whose various abilities can not only deal damage directly, but also apply damage over time debuffs to our targets. Sounds good? Ah, okay, and now we get to play with the new character customization. Apparently they've added new hairstyles as well. So, I've already kind of predetermined what our character will look like, though I may look at the new hairstyles. We are actually going to play as a Zabrak. And this is not how we're going to end up looking. So, we can actually play a I think we were always able to play with a randomizer. But, give me a moment. I'm going to choose the settings I had earlier, or that I had pre-selected. And then we may play with what other options are available to us. And those weren't the tattoos we're looking for. Those are the tattoos I'm looking for. Oh, yep, those are the horns I want. We're not going to have any hairs, but we'll have a look at them. I'm guessing the hairstyles may be available for humans? We'll have a look at that in a moment. Hair colour, doesn't matter. And then finally, skin tone. There you go, perfect. So horns and hair. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any alternate options. Let's quickly look at human. Humans have the biggest options in hairstyle, of course. What the... Oh, okay. Some fashion accessories, I see. Maybe
Pleasure doing business with you.
What about for female characters? I'm cute. Wow, 67. Bloody hell. 68. Wow, okay. Fair few. Okay, let's go back.
Bounty hunters set their own rules.
I had my fun. Let's quickly rejuggle. Done. Perfect. Yep, I'm happy. This is our bounty hunter for the foreseeable future. And yes, the last thing we need to do is give our character a name. I've actually looked at the naming conventions for the Zabrak. It's difficult, but there are some notable kind of words used in the Zabrak language, so I actually just kind of meshed two of them together and come up with Vyi'zur with a silent Y. This is Vyi'zur, our bounty hunter. One thing I should mention is, before we actually press play and go into the opening scroll, how I plan to play my new bounty hunter here. So, Vyi'zur here. We don't have many credits to our name. As I say, it's been 10 years after the Treaty of Coruscant was signed, and we have heard rumours of the Great Hunt this tournament happening, hosted by the Mandalorians, of course, and only the top-ranking bounty hunters, or those who have gained someone of influence's favour, are granted entrance into this tournament. We have heard rumours, or we have been contacted by a group offering to give us aid for access to the tournament. Them, of course, then being our support team. So with the last of our credits, we have grabbed a shuttle and are on our way down to Hutta, our prologue world. We are pretty much a fledgling bounty hunter, though we have somewhat of a decent, I should say, reputation. The contracts we have picked up so far, we have completed without too much complaint, and we hope to try and maintain a good reputation. The plan is, of course, those who give us a contract, we will try our utmost to fulfill it. We won't be, hopefully, persuaded to be bought out, I should say. Say our target offers us more money. That wouldn't look good if it got out, and so once we pick up a contract, we will try to fulfill it to the utmost. That is not to say that if there are other opportunities to earn extra credits on the side, as a helping Imperial interests on a certain world while we're there, then I don't see what the problem is. Of course, that may cause complications down the line, but for now, we will have to see if we can gain entrance to the Great Hunt. After all, if we manage to win such a tournament, our reputation will greatly increase. So, we'll get ourselves into the opening scroll, and I will see you on Hutta. I'll see you in just a moment.
Almost set up. See if you can't get that security network running, Mako.
Sure thing, Brayden. We'll be... hey now.
Indeed. The main attraction has arrived. Team, this is the man we're pinning all our hopes on. Best shot I've ever seen and nerves of steel. He's great hunt material, all right. What do you say, Hunter? Ready to meet your team?
My team. I like the sound of that.
Get used to the idea. To win the Great Hunt, you'll need support, structure, and intel. Let's do things official-like. This is Mako, little genius I picked up years ago in Nar Shaddaa. She provides intel and tech.
Hope you're as good as the old man says.
And the big bruiser is Jory. He handles the heavy lifting and provides security for our base of operations.
Atungi ma chechu. I kutsig nang kihe.
Cute girls and big guns. I'm sold.
All right, enough introductions. Down to business. We're here because the Great Hunt has been called. Little Mako is the most rabid fan of hunter history this side of Geonosis, and even she doesn't know exactly what the Great Hunt entails.
I do know the names of every great hunt winner, though. Bloodworthy, the Defenestrator, Jewel and Nightbringer.
Every bounty hunter who's won a Great Hunt went on to massive glory and riches, which is why we're here.
You can keep your glory. I just want to be rich.
Wana wada blota wijawa. O wamawanka matuske.
Here's what I know so far. The Great Hunt has two groups, the Mandalorian Elite and freelance bounty hunters sponsored by influential crime lords. There's no time to make you a Mandalorian. That means you need a sponsor.
Nemro the Hutt runs this stinking little town. I've got just enough pull with that gangster to get you an introduction. Mako, scan for every bounty in the area. I want the nastiest, most brutal, untouchable scum you can find.
I'm on it, Brayden. One nasty character coming up.
We need to get you situated as a big-time hunter, at least as far as the locals know. Then we contact Nemro. Mako will plant rumors about your off-world exploits. But you have to take down someone impressive and local to sell the reputation.
You find a target, and I'll take it down hard.
How's that scan coming, Mako?
Found something. Check this out. Vex Corellian. Champion quick-draw artist, wanted for robbing 15 Imperial military pay stations.
Togawata kiko uba kiriwata buki donko.
Perfect. This Vex is either a madman or a glory hound, and he's obviously dangerous.
Says here, Vex has a safe house in the bad part of town, right in the heart of the madness. That'll be fun.
Nemro the Hutt's enemy took over part of this town. It's dangerous poking around in there, but it's your best shot. Raid Vex's safe house and look for something that might help us track him down, but be ready for anything.
Excuse me, but I have a safe house to shoot up.
Be safe out there.
Okay, so we don't have the opening scroll anymore. I'm actually somewhat disappointed. It means I don't get to use the Spaceball theme anymore. Here is Vyi'zur. We are making use of a set of adaptive armor. We'll talk more about adaptive armor as we progress through the game. But we'll take a break here. Here is our support team to get us into the Great Hunt, of course. Brayden the leader, followed by the tech specialist Mako, and of course the heavy lifter Jory as introductions were just done. So, we are here in the Poison Pit Cantina, and once we get out of here, we'll get into the small town of Jaguna, run by Nemro the Hutt, and find our bounty target to hopefully get Nemro's attention. As I say, we'll actually get into some gameplay, into some combat, at the beginning of the next part of the series, but we will briefly go through some of the UI elements first, not only to familiarize you, the viewer, of windows I will be visiting quite often, but also to look at the various UI changes, so I can be more familiar with them. But thank you all for joining me with this first part, this introduction to my new Bounty Hunter series. As always, feel free to leave a comment if you so wish, and hopefully you'll join me on this adventure together. We will be making use of different armor sets, but we'll be switching them out at different moments, shall we say. We'll see when it may be appropriate to change. Either way, we'll talk more about that later. Thank you again for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you for even more next time. Until then, no, take care. Bye-bye now.